again, falling on that, like knowing our why has been huge. Like I just wanted to spend more time with my family, my kids, and be a good dad, a husband, a good friend to people. And I just knew being on the railroad wasn't going to allow me to do that.
Welcome to the Our Family Invest podcast, where we explore what happens when family, purpose, and entrepreneurship align. I'm Mike, a former Maui firefighter who reached financial freedom in just 5 years through real estate investing.
And I'm Caroline, a Maui-based realtor here to educate, empower, and elevate my clients to make smart real estate moves, whether right here at home or through my nationwide network.
Together, we're chasing our full potential as individuals, as a couple, and as a family. We're here to build a life that matters. And each week we share the stories of couples who inspire us to love harder, dream bigger, and grow bolder. So join us and let's learn, share, and grow together. All right. Today we're excited to sit down with Grant and Laura Francke, and their story is anything but ordinary. Grant spent over a decade riding the rails as a conductor for BNSF, but instead of settling into a predictable life, he started stacking up multifamily deals until he could walk away for good. Now he's a full-time investor, a family man, and an author. And Laura is no less impressive. She's a CPA who cut her teeth at KPMG. She's built a career that not only challenges her, but gives her the flexibility to keep their family thriving. She's the steady hand behind the numbers, the balance to Grant's big moves, and the reason this whole operation works. Together, they're raising 2 kids and writing a playbook, what building freedom as a family really looks like. All right, you guys, that's the polished intro, but I want you to brag on each other for a little. So, Grant, what's something about Laura that most people probably don't know but should? And then, Laura, your turn. Tell us who Grant really is when no one's looking.
She's a very calm and very demeanored person, like out in public, but at home she can be very funny and like make the kids laugh a lot. She's kind of got that goofy side to her, but a lot of people don't get to see the goofy side.
Nice.
I'd say for Grant, I mean, he just has always been our steady. Like, it doesn't matter what the situation is. You know, I can kind of be, this is our list. We got to do this, this, and this. He's like, whoa, like wait a second. Why do we have to do all those things today? And so he's always the one that's kind of like doing the planning for us, keeping us steady. The big trips we go on, it's all his ideas. And pretty much like our house runs because of Grant. So he does everything. Most women are pretty impressed by the list of things that Grant does around the house for us, which is amazing.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so you two have been married now for over 16 years.
Yes.
You're raising kids, building businesses. But before all that, there was a wedding reception and a setup that kind of sounds like a movie plot. So can you take us back to what that is?
Yeah. So I'll tell the story first of how we met, and then you can kind of give your side of the story. I was in a wedding. I was a bridesmaid in a wedding for one of my college roommates, and her wedding was going to be on December 27th. And leading up to the wedding, the bride-to-be was like, hey, my dad wants you to meet my cousin. I don't think it's going to be a good idea. But if you want to meet him, I can make sure you get the introduction at the wedding reception. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. You know, like I'm single. I don't have a boyfriend. Let's why not? I'm open to meeting your cousin. And so she arranged the introduction at the wedding reception, despite her thinking that it wasn't going to be a great idea and it wasn't going to work out. We met, we exchanged numbers. So that was December 27th. And I mean, he told me he worked for the railroad, but I really didn't understand what that meant and like what that schedule was like. And so on New Year's Eve, like at 3 p.m, he calls me. He's like, hey, do you have plans for tonight? I was like, it's New Year's Eve. Like, who doesn't have plans for tonight? Yes, I have plans. And he's like, well, I was just calling to see I'm in town. Which I didn't realize he'd literally like just gotten off a train and was back in town. And so he didn't know when he was going to be home and when he wasn't. And so he's like, can I come along? And so he came up to Omaha. We went out with some of my friends, went out to eat. And then I was working for KPMG at that time. And so the week of Christmas and New Year's, we basically you just take off because you're getting ready for busy season. And so I understood why I wasn't working. But I didn't realize why he wasn't working. And like every day for the next week, he's calling me and he's like, hey, do you want to hang out today? I'm like, do you actually have a job? And so then, pretty much right off the bat, ever since our first date, we've talked every single day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that the same story that you would have, Grant?
Well,
Or did you see it differently?
I sound less desperate in my story, but so yeah, at Christmas before we met, like my uncle was like, "There's this bridesmaid I'd really like you to meet," and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great." My mom found out about it too, so at the wedding, she was just always watching to see who I was talking to, and yeah, we exchanged numbers that day, and I remember driving home and telling my mom, I was like, I think she's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about hanging out with her. So, which obviously meant why I hung out with her for the next week and a half. So,
yeah. Wow. So, okay. So certainly, you're at a wedding, everyone's emotions are high. You're all blissful and happy, and you're probably cleaned up nice. Grant, you probably got your hair done.
Yeah, I did.
After that night, what was your first real date like? And when did you know that it was going to be something special?
Our first date, we went out with some of her friends. We went and got sushi. I'd never had sushi before. So I was with a bunch of people I'd never met before, but I wanted to spend time with her. So I was like, all right, I'll go eat raw fish and sit with strangers. That's whatever you want to do. So that was our first date. I knew a lot quicker than she did, or at least that she wants to admit that it was going to be something special. I knew fairly quickly.
Yeah. The first next date, like solo with us, besides hanging out for the next week, I went down to Lincoln. So he lived in Lincoln. I lived in Omaha, which in Nebraska is about 40 minutes away. So I went to Lincoln to go hang out with him. And I went to his house and he's like, all right, so this might be weird, but my mom wants to meet you. Which she saw us at the wedding. And so she obviously knew about us. So I met his mom and dad like within 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even tell my parents for 3 months.
Yeah. We were in the same building a few times, and she would just leave and go talk to her family. I'm like, I don't know, maybe she's in the bathroom or something.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
So you were definitely you were quicker to. I was definitely more guarded. You knew right away. I probably knew sooner than when I admitted to myself, but I was definitely way more guarded about it than you were. Like, I mean, you probably would have said "I love you" within the first month.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's amazing.
So does your uncle always get credit?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. He was a big deal at the wedding.
He was our wedding. He got up and gave a speech at our wedding and everything. So yeah, he takes pretty high. And now the cousin that set us up, they actually invest with us in real estate. So like they're partners with us. It's a very good relationship. It's very funny to look back at the thoughts she had of it maybe not working and what it turned into.
Yeah. So she knew something about you that she didn't want to share with Laura then.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. I'm still waiting to find out. But,
All right. So you guys have had kind of a massive pivot going from long shifts on the railroad into multifamily and now publishing a book. So take us into the business side of your story. How did that develop?
So like I said, I was a conductor at the BNSF Railways for over a decade. It's a great job when you're single and you don't have any kids because you're on the road a lot. You work midnights. And even when we didn't have any kids, it was great. She would work all the time. I'd work all the time, and we would have some days off in there to hang out. But once we started having our kids, Madeline and Brendan, that's when it kind of shifted for me. I was missing birthdays. I was missing Christmases. I was missing all that stuff, all those fun memories. And I was just like, I got to find something else to do. I was looking at being a postman. I was looking at whatever I could. Then I would listen to a podcast, and it recommended Rich Dad Poor Dad to me, the book. Bought that, and then I just went down the rabbit hole. So actually, after I read that book, I was never a big reader before real estate. I read this book, and then I told Laura, I was like, I read this book. Will you read it? And she was like, oh boy, you don't ever read. Like, this must be a really big deal. And then she read it and was on board with me as well.
Yeah. I mean, you bought your first property pretty quickly after that then. And, I don't know, 3 years after our first investment, you left the railroad?
Yep. About 3.5 years later. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I was just going to ask you, what triggered real estate for you? And one, how did you come up with the money to buy something? I'm not sure of how much the market was at that point, but then what was your first real win that you're like, yes, I like this. I want more of this.
Yeah. So the thing that triggered me was really Rich Dad Poor Dad, reading that book and having that mindset shift of like how assets and liabilities work, how money works, how you want your money to work for you. Reading that was a really big flip for me. And really, it wasn't even my first property. It was like our second deal that we got was our second duplex. After those rents started coming in and everything was stable, I was like, holy smokes, if we do this a handful of times, like this is a very repeatable process, then we can build up that cash flow to leave the railroad. As far as like saving up for it, we were very lucky. So I had a great union job. I'd been working it since I was 19. Laura was a CPA. So we were able to we had, medium income. We were saving money as much as we could, living very frugal at the time. So we were able to do that, and we had a pretty good nest egg saved up and to take down our first couple properties prior to that, like refinance snowball that started rolling for us.
Yeah. So when you were, kind of just getting started in this, right? You're still doing the railroad, you're investing in real estate, and you're juggling like new baby and everything. Like that must have been kind of a struggle time for you guys, right? Like how did you manage to keep everything straight?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, there was times I'd be working at the railroad and then I'd go work on the rentals, and then other way around, I'd be working on the rentals and then go on the railroad. So, I don't know, she could speak to it, but it was more like we knew the why. Like we knew why I was doing this. We saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and we knew if we could just like really bust our butts for 2 or 3 years, there was a chance I could get out of the railroad and spend more time and do these trips that we do now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
On my end, especially once we started having the kids, having Grant gone and missing those family events, definitely was a motivation for me to help do my part and support him into the process of like, all right, you have to do the rental or you have to do the railroad and then go to the rentals. Like I wasn't going to give him any slack for that, knowing that we were working towards the ultimate goal of getting him out of the railroad. Because actually our first property that I read Rich Dad Poor Dad on my maternity leave for Brendan, our second kid. And so my last 2 weeks of maternity leave was going around and looking at rental properties. And so Brendan was going in and out of the car, and I was like, this is not how I expected to spend my last weeks on maternity leave of our last kid. But it obviously has paid off. But it was knowing that ultimate why definitely helped get us through those times where it was super busy. And then initially, like I was doing all the books for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of became that was kind of my weekend job to help support that process too, as we were getting started and trying to figure out, get that snowball rolling.
Yeah. And I mean, real estate, as many as there are wins, it can definitely be unpredictable. And so you've carried that W-2. How has that W-2 career shaped the stability that you guys have and how you approach risk?
I mean, it's huge when we're trying to, qualify for a loan, having that W-2 steady income, reoccurring income. Obviously, the banks love that when they're trying to get a loan. So from that perspective, it's been huge. But also like knowing that, I mean, we did the math, like this is how many properties he needs in order to leave the railroad. But there's definitely that security of the fact that I still had my job. And, like, and when you left the railroad, you took a pay cut to do it. Like we knew that we teed it up for the quickest path to get out of the railroad. And so we knew that when he would leave, that he was going to take an initial pay cut, and that, then most of the household, any of our personal stuff was going to come from my paycheck, where the rental stuff, we just wanted to keep in the rental business and use that operating cash to build up and ultimately use that for our future capital. And so there was a shift there for sure in our initially our, I don't know, well, we had done, when we made the decision to do it, that's when we really took the step back and looked at our budget and was like, all right, what do we need to adjust to make sure that when we actually do voluntarily take the pay cut, that we're not pinched then. And so we were kind of preparing for that, which helped. But then like long term, it has been, it's something that continues. I enjoy my job. It's challenging to me. I get a ton of personal satisfaction from it. It's good for us to work. The amount of time we work together is great.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good amount.
We don't probably need more. We've learned that we work differently, and that's okay. Yeah. And so I just really enjoy having my own thing. And then the benefit is the W-2 for loans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Grant, you wrote a book called The Unlikely Investor.
Yep.
And I think when most people see the word unlikely, they immediately start thinking of their own doubts and insecurities and excuses or reasons why they can't do something, right?
Yeah.
But what does unlikely mean to you? And how did you shift from unlikely to unstoppable?
Yeah, good question. So for me, like the book title Unlikely came from my job, like my W-2 job at the railroad. It was a great union job, a great pension. My dad worked there for 42 years. Like it's not a place you quit that. And so when I started doing this, there was a lot of talk about from my coworkers, like, why are you doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't do it. So it was a very unlikely thing for somebody to step outside away from that union job and start building something on their own and taking that risk. When I could have just stayed there and had the golden handcuffs, had the great pension, missed a little bit more. It'd been a lot easier just to stay at the railroad, probably some less stress.
Might have been easier for you.
Yeah.
I didn't like not having the plan of when you're going to be home.
But it was the unlikely step of like me giving up that job and just taking that step away. And I didn't like it was all very self-made. Like we didn't get money handed down from our parents to just like go invest. Like it was stuff that we built up ourselves, and just did ourselves and grinded with. So it's when you look at like the success we've had, it's unlikely on how we started that we got here.
Nice.
Yeah, Laura, maybe through the lenses of the CPA standpoint, what's a metric that you think every beginner should understand when they're looking at a new deal in the real estate spectrum?
So I actually stay out of all the new deal metrics.
Yeah, I usually underwrite the deals and then I hand them to her like, does this look right to me? So she's more like afterwise, like processing cash flows and like doing our books that way.
You would think I'd be way more beneficial to this business than what I actually am.
She's very good. Well, then let's pivot then. Where does Grant usually get it wrong?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably too optimistic sometimes.
Yeah. So, and then, I mean, really, it's just your legacy process. I would catch the formula errors.
No.
Like I live in Excel and, he'd have this deal that had multiple spreadsheets that he got from the previous landlord and he was, adding a tab on top, compiling all the information. And so I was just kind of putting on my old auditor hat and would like check everything out, like, do the double check of it all and make sure that the numbers he came up with actually made sense. And, gave it back because I was kind of, I would say that, going back to like Grant being kind of the steady person in our family, like he's always been very disciplined in the buy box where I would look at it and be like, looks good to me. Why aren't we buying this one? He's like, well, I mean, you gave me all the reasons why we weren't buying it. I was like, all right, that sounds good too.
Hey family, real quick, if you'd rather watch your content, head over to Our Family Invests on YouTube. You'll find this episode and all our episodes over there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your takeaways in the comments. Now, back to the show.
So a lot of people want to get rich quick in real estate, right? They see it as a quick way, leave your W-2 job and live this life of freedom. And, 3 years is really, really fast to leave a W-2 job. But we've all seen people that have taken shortcuts that almost never work, right? And so I wanted to kind of get your perspective of what are the things that you see that new investors should definitely avoid? And then what are some habits that almost always pay off?
Yeah. So the two things that you would avoid are like the first one's shiny object syndrome. So like you're looking at
what I have.
Yeah. Self-storage. You're looking at a motel conversion. You're looking at single family. Like it's just, you just need to put your blinders on and stick to one thing. And I've been fairly good about that so far. Just long-term rentals. We're doing some midterm now, but like just that small buy box. The other one is just not understanding the fundamentals of underwriting, not really knowing your numbers super well, not being able to fall back on that. Because like my numbers are what gives me the confidence. Like I'm very confident in my numbers. So if I ever get wishy-washy on a deal or something starts shaking out, I can always fall back on my numbers. I can fall back on our spreadsheets to know that it's going to work. And that gives me the confidence to go through the deals.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you from like you were saying, and we have had a taste of that when we left the fire department, that was definitely, it gave people a lot of pause and concern. And so I would imagine when you said your dad was in the railroad for 42 years, how did you go against the noise and have that mindset shift for you guys? Just even with the ones that love and support you, that they were telling you, I don't think you should do this.
Yeah, dad's fully on board now. He's super happy. He's super proud of us. In the beginning, he's like, you know what you're giving up? Like, cause he had just retired recently and he's like, this is our retirement. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, you weren't always there for all of our stuff. You know, I don't want to have to go through that life that you lived. It's also just like not a fun place to work. Like the people there, and I'm sure some of them are going to listen to this. You guys aren't happy ever. So, like, it's just not a fun life to live out there. So again, falling on that, like knowing our why has been huge. Like I just wanted to spend more time with my family, my kids, and be a good dad, a husband, a good friend to people. And I just knew being on the railroad wasn't going to allow me to do that. So I was able to block out a lot of the noise out there doing that. Now I get texts from people who are like, you're so glad you left. It hasn't gotten any better. So I feel better about that too.
Yeah. Okay. So that myth of
They're
that.
so glad you left.
Yeah, they're happy for me that I left. Yeah, they're probably glad I left.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, the ones that I have more seniority with, then they're glad I left. So
yeah. So that myth of money isn't everything, and having the insurance and even the backing of a union isn't the be all end all.
Yeah. Because if you can build something yourself, and then I can show my kids what I built too. Like it's a very empowering thing too.
Yeah. If you had to point to one routine or habit that's changed the way you do things and who you are, what would that be?
I'll let you go on that one. I'm not a very habit person, so I'm gonna let my wife answer that one.
I'd say one of the recent habits that has really been fundamental to me is my morning routine. And it was something that I did lack for the first 10 years of our marriage, probably. You know, like either I was at KPMG and I was just doing the grind of public accounting, and then we were in the baby phase, and it's just really hard, to have that, to carve out that time that's your time. And so I don't know, it's probably been about 5 years where I just really have protected my morning routine. And even though that might mean, like, hey, I'm saying no to something because I need to go to bed to get up in the morning. But I know that if I get up, work out, do my reading, do some journaling, which I'm starting. Sometimes my journals are like to-do lists, but I am trying to get them to be more like journals. But getting that time to where I can kind of organize my thoughts, my day, it's quiet. I feel better, and I'm just better for everybody else I show up for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Morning routines are huge for me too. I definitely agree with you. It kind of sets the pace for how the rest of the day goes. I like how you have come back. Both of you have come back several times to like, we do this because we have a very strong why. And I know that you've talked before about, you go on experience trips more with your kids more than like a traditional vacation and things like that. When your kids look back one day at this chapter of their lives, what do you hope that they carry from this, that they've learned from you?
What do you think?
So we recently did a big trip with the kids, and like we came on the way home where I was like, all right, guys, what was your favorite part of that trip? And I thought they'd, reference a ride or an event, and they're like, we just loved hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
like, I just, they'll look back and they'll have fun memories and experiences, but I think they truly value the break.
Yeah.
And even, more so us breaking and giving them uninterrupted time.
Yeah.
Like, I think I was surprised by their answer, and that was honestly,
I think one of
really
Brendan's
cool.
favorite things was like a dinner we did, like, because we all just sat there and laughed and ate, and there was, so those are the core memories that hopefully they'll remember, forever.
Yeah, I think, they're old enough now that they recognize a lot of the planning and honestly, some of the work that goes into having the break. And even this last trip, um, I ended up having to do a lot of work before the trip, to be able to go on it. And I explained that to them. I was like, guys, I'm gonna have some late nights. A few things came up. I'm gonna be working extra, and then you'll have me on this vacation next week. And it's kind of nice that they're old enough to be able to rationalize that now and understand, okay, this, and they don't give me as much mom guilt as they maybe did when I was younger. But I think it's really the connection, the memories.
Mhm.
I love that. How do you teach your kids about money, mindset, or entrepreneurship?
We try to do it well, A, through example, just so they can see, like, we openly talk about money. We openly talk about our business and what we're doing, and try to keep them involved with that. We're doing the Fig and Eagle, is that what it's called, with you guys too? So that's
Center
that's
fund.
been good to kind of get that going. But we try to, like, Value Creation Kid, that book as well by Scott Donald, that kind of helped us kind of get that way of going. Like, we want them to be able to create value in life, create value in their community, in their home, on their teams, at school. We want to make sure they're just creating value wherever they go.
Yeah, and so
I
we
love
we
that.
do just, we I talk about my work, Grant talks about his work, even at, sometimes they get involved in those conversations too, and they understand more what we both do, and they'll go with Grant to, they come to my office sometimes. They've gone with Grant to rentals and, the bank. And we've talked about too our path, like we have very different paths to get where we're at. I went to the kind of the traditional route, got my degree, got a professional license, and I've done the corporate, um, where you went straight from high school to the railroad,
Mhm.
and then, which was a great paying union job that's extremely secure, and then left and have built your own business. And so it's kind of cool that we have those different stories and are able to show, like, this, you can have multiple ways to success, and how you define success is different for everybody. And, money is not our top priority in our success. So you can build the life that you want multiple different ways. And so I think it's cool that we were able to have that example for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're saying, one, money is not the most important thing, but also that the highlight of your kid's recent trip with you guys was just being with you. That speaks volumes, right?
Yeah.
And that is something like, I would love to say that that's what Nico says every time we hang out. It's not.
It's not
So,
our answer every time
Yeah, that's
but
that's
yeah.
why we were so shocked. So
Yeah.
yes, yes.
We'll aim for that this
yeah.
this holiday.
But okay, so I want to go because your kids are amazing and we have met them and they're super sweet, down to earth, amazing children. If they were in charge of planning your next family vacation, where do you think that you would end up?
We actually asked them that, where they want where they would want the next trip to be.
Hmm.
Madeline would go somewhere with a beach. She's thinking Jamaica.
Jamaica, yeah,
Oh.
or Hawaii, or
Yeah,
Maui.
I was say we did talk about we should go back to Hawaii. And Brendan would want to go to Dallas. I don't remember if that was the answer you
Dallas
gave,
or
but
Disney World.
yeah,
Oh.
he's a big Dallas Mavericks fan, and that was one of the experience trips that Grant and Brendan have gone on, and he's waiting for that to come up again.
Yeah.
I love that.
Nice. All right, you guys. Well, I know that you have shared a lot of good stuff already with us today, but I want to bring this full circle and ask you our final 4 questions that we ask all of our guests. Okay, this just helps us to peer into your brains a little bit more. But I'll start with this: who are 3 people, books, or places that inspire you?
You want to do people?
Yeah, I think we both come from amazing families, and so especially after you become a parent, you have so much more appreciation for what your parents did, and either the sacrifices that they made to give you the life that they created for you, or how they showed up. The memories that they helped create. We were both very thankful to come from amazing families, and so definitely would want to say our parents are people that are inspiring, even more so now that we're parents.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Our parents are we both come from fun families and that are very grounded, and the families get along too. So that's really fun aspect of it as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You forgot to mention Grant's uncle.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, he's family, so that works. Books wise, I mean, I always fall back on Rich Dad Poor Dad just because that's kind of the one that kind of changed my life. I've read a lot of great books that helped me get where I am, but that one was the one that kind of did the mindset shift for me.
Yeah, and I think one of my most influential books is The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, which is one of the reasons why I ended up resetting my morning routine, just recognizing that I had done the grinds for so long that I really needed to make a shift and reprioritize as our kids were getting to those ages where they recognized when I was working and I needed to make sure that I was being present when they're home and just slowing down and enjoying life and enjoying each other.
Yeah, I like that. Have you read, that's John Mark Comer. Have you read his newer book?
I haven't.
Yeah, we have it upstairs. I haven't read it. Have you? You read it?
Yes. And I liked it, but I definitely appreciated The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry a little more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great reminders. It's things that we know, but we forget, and time passes by so quickly. And just when your family starts to feel it and your body starts to feel it, it's probably a good indicator. Like, hey, I should take a pause again.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
slow down a bit. All right, so that kind of leads into the next question. How do you find peace, or when do you feel most at peace?
I feel like, for me, at peace, I feel most at peace with just with the family at home in the evenings. Like, we're just hanging out. We get done eating. We're watching Home Improvement now, so we always go back and watch these old shows. So
Nice.
we're watching Home Improvement now. So just relaxing in the evening, doing that stuff. That's when I'm at peace.
Yeah.
Do your kids love that?
I love it. Yeah, we've watched. So we've gone through Step by Step, Walker, Texas Ranger.
Nice.
Full House.
Yep.
So we're just kind of going through all those old 90s shows.
It started during COVID when no one was making any new shows and stuff, and everybody had tons of time and nothing to do.
Yeah.
Are these all on Netflix?
Yeah, most were Netflix or Disney. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep. Cool.
I think we should try Home Improvement. I think
Home Improvement was great.
At family camp, I think that actually came up of how the shift, what happened first? Was it the shift of what we were seeing in entertainment, or was it shifting in families matching in the entertainment world? Which I don't know the answer to that, but getting back to some wholesome shows would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And you see them having their family dinners and
Yeah. Okay, in just one sentence, what would you whisper to your younger self?
I would say you are enough. I think I wish I had more confidence growing up.
Yeah. Mine was going to be confidence, just have confidence in yourself, you can do it. I was very timid in high school. I didn't try a whole lot of things. Just kind of kept my head down. So have confidence in what you can do.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Guys, we'll get you out of here on this. We like to say we learn, we share, we grow. What is one thing that you've learned recently that kind of helped you to stop and see life a little different?
It's just been a stressful month or two for me with the business, just doing some big acquisitions, there's refinances and stuff. So I was able to reframe my stress to the stress I have now, I would have died for 12 years ago. These are all great problems to have. So that's been a big mindset shift the last couple months for me.
Yeah.
That was big.
That's good.
Yeah. What are you?
I think mine, I kind of shared Brendan's comment that both kids had the comment about just really appreciating the time that they have with us. And, it's one of the really fun things about kids is that you relearn so much as your kids are starting to learn things and seeing it through their eyes. And so their comment about the trip, just enjoying the time with us as being one of their favorite parts is just a great reminder to just make sure that we're protecting that uninterrupted time with them.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you both so much for joining us today. So
Yes.
glad that we got the time with you. We've really enjoyed the conversation. If our audience wants to connect with you or bring you some more deals, where should they connect with you?
On Instagram, I'm at grant.francke, Francke.
Perfect.
Laura doesn't do a whole lot of social media, so if you want to talk to
Send
Laura,
those to Grant.
send me an email.
I'll
I'll
type the
connect you.
numbers after he calcs them.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yes, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being part of the family today. If you want a closer look at our journey through real life, business, and all the wild adventures, follow us on Instagram at Our Family Invest. And for free resources to help you on your own path, head to ourfamilyinvest.com.
If you like this episode, send it to a friend. And if you're feeling extra generous, drop us a quick review. It really helps us grow this community. Thank you so much for being part of our family today. We really, truly appreciate you.